Go ahead, Chairman.
Okay, I'll call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order, and we'll take a moment for silent prayer, followed by the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice.
liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to request that the clerk call the roll.
Basson. Oh, hold on 1 second. You ready? Okay, Basson.
Here.
Weigel.
Not again.
Weigel. Does anybody see him?
No.
No.
He was just here a little while ago. We should have let him shut his computer off.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'll try to get hold of him.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Weigel.
Here.
Thank you. Leader. Here. Benvenuto.
Here.
Stats.
Here.
Adams. Here. Mettler. Supervisor Mettler.
She was on originally.
Collins.
She's on mute.
Here. Sorry.
Oh, Mettler's here. Okay, Collins.
Here.
Who's got music playing? Okay. Riley.
Here.
Eldridge.
Here.
Fury.
Here.
Hillsdale. Ligonia.
Here.
Sterling.
Here.
Mia.
Here.
Chemidas.
Here.
Mussman.
Here.
Scalera.
Here.
Bezzi.
Here.
Hoatling.
Here.
Morel.
Here.
Knott.
Here.
Skoda.
Present.
34-23 present, 112 absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion to pay the bills, accept the treasurer's report, and file the minutes within the clerk's office.
So moved. Benvenuto.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, next on the agenda, I'd like to have Ryan Skoda present a 4-H proclamation to Linda Tripp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ryan, do you
Linda?
have a copy there? I'm pulling it up for you if you need it.
I have a copy in front of me. Thank you, Kelly.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Linda, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Very good. On behalf of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors, I would like to present you and the Cornell Cooperative Extension with a proclamation declaring National 4-H Week, October 6th through 12th of 2020. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, having supported almost 6 million youth across the country thus far, and whereas 4-H has helped youth ages 5 to 19 in Columbia County to become confident, independent, resilient, and compassionate leaders, and whereas 4-H is delivered by Cooperative Extension, a community of more than 100 public universities across the nation that provides experiences where young people learn by doing hands-on projects in areas including health, science, agriculture, and citizenship. And whereas National 4-H Week showcases the incredible experiences that 4-H offers young people and highlights the remarkable 4-H youth in Columbia County who work each day to make a positive impact on those around them. And whereas 4-H's network of 600,000 volunteers and 3,500 professionals provide caring and supportive mentoring to all 4-Hers, helping them to grow into true leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Matt Morel, Chairman of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors, hereby proclaim October 4th through 10th, 2020 as National 4-H Week, throughout Columbia County and encourage all our citizens to recognize 4-H for their significant impact it has made and continues to make by empowering youth with the skills they need to lead for a lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I think if you just give me a couple minutes, I just wanted to thank all of you, the Board of Supervisors, for your continued support for Cornell Cooperative Extension and for 4-H. And I hope that you've been able to see in the news that we've been able to continue to do some of the things we normally do, even without the county fair happening. And as a matter of fact, last week we just had the 4-H livestock sale. And even though it was closed, we had, I think it was 30 bidders who attended. And I think it was something like $42,000 was paid for the 22 lots of animals the kids sold. So that just shows what kind of support we have in Columbia County for our kids who are involved with 4-H, and in particular, I was just thinking about Ryan and farming, and the kids who are learning to become farmers. Something that might be interesting to you is that of the 9 kids who had animals last week, I'm thinking that 1, 2, 3, about only 3 or 4 live on active farms, and the others take care of the animals in their backyard or at someone else's farm. As a matter of fact, also Brian's son was involved in one of our 4-H dairy activities this year, because of course we have 50 kids enrolled in the 4-H dairy project in Columbia County. And so without the opportunity to show at the fair, which is of course the pinnacle for a lot of those kids and their families, we went out, I and another staff person, and did some videotaping of the kids as they did a little bit of showmanship in their backyards. And so have that put together as a video for the kids to see and to kind of culminate their year. So we're doing some things with 4-H clubs, as well as supporting, of course, programming for Hudson After School. We did a program over at Philmont this summer as well, and throughout. So we're looking forward to getting back to somewhere close to normal soon. But in the meantime, we keep going and finding ways to get the kids involved and supporting our volunteer leaders so that they can continue to do the work that they do. So thank you so much. And Ryan, I'll give you a call next week or email, and we'll get hooked up so we can get a photo. Okay?
Very good. Thank you again.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great meeting, you all.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Linda. Thank you.
Enjoy
Bye-bye.
Maine.
Soda. Okay, take care. Next, I want to ask PJ Keeler and Ron Campanara to give a sort of an overview of expenses and revenues as we compare to last year at this time.
PJ, I'll let you start.
All right. Well, just to give you a quick down and dirty update from a cash standpoint. From a cash standpoint, obviously you've seen the treasurer's report. We're down about $6 million in our operating account. That does not include the tax stabilization account. Our taxes receivable are up by about $1.2 million. The biggest issue we're having right now is obviously the DSS reimbursement. There's a program that they have, it's called Triple FS. And by that, they submit directly to the state to get reimbursed for some of their expenses, and it goes through the state system. The last payment we received from them was in we just received the payment last week, and that was for February, and they are withholding the 20%. So it's caused a deep drain on our cash surplus. Our sales tax, just to give you an indication, for the period April up and through yesterday, the tax receipts are down $2.1 million. Luckily, we were ahead prior to that. So our year to date, we're down about $1.5 million. People keep asking me, what do we project for next year, so on and so forth, and what do we do for our town budgets? I can tell you that if I were in your shoes, I would decrease it by probably 7 to 10%. That we initially, when this COVID crisis hit, we're trying to have a crystal ball and project what our tax decrease would be. Ron and I got together and we came up with about $3.5 million hit that we thought maybe we would take this year. So when I tell you from April through yesterday, we're down 2.1. It's kind of leveled off to about 5 or 6% decrease every receipt that we get from the state. And if we hold true to that, we should be a little over $3 million decrease. If it jumps up to about 10%, we'll be about $3.7 million decrease. So again, who knows? We don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that our projections are right on. So you can see that our cash on hand is dwindling. You'll have a resolution in front of you tonight that would allow me to transfer the tax stabilization money to our operating account if and when it becomes necessary. I don't want to wait to the bitter end. Our payroll is $1 million a week. And so I put a sunset clause in there that it would sunset March 1st, 2021, that authorization, because by then we would be receiving tax money from the towns. So our big hang up, Brian and I were talking earlier, the big hang up really is cash flow. I believe that in our projections, what we have done as far as trying to recover some of the costs that we initially looked at in the revenue reductions that we suspected from the pandemic crisis, I believe we will cover those costs by the furloughs, the reduction in the capital expenditures, which has allowed me to keep some of the money that we would have transferred to the highway fund. I've kept that in the general fund, which has been a tremendous help. And we have also loaned money to the capital account of like $3 million. That will come back. We're in the process now. Ron is, we're working on coming up with a resolution, which we'll probably have at finance this month to bond some of the money that we've paid out for some of the capital projects. So it's going to be very tight moving forward. The big issue is cash flow. State is not releasing that. I'd love to get the 80% that they keep saying that they'll send. I'll take the 20% reduction, but right now they're hardly sending any of the 80%. So that's tough. So I'll turn it over to Ron. We'll go through a couple line items that we went over today.
Well, with all that being said, what PJ just said, it's making for a very, very difficult budget for 2021. We had our first budget meeting today. It's going to be a difficult budget. And I'm not going to get into too much unless Chairman Morrell wants to. But this is probably the most difficult budget I had to do in my career, and definitely since I've been with the county for the last almost 11 years. Cash flow, as PJ said, is critical. We've said that since March, that was going to be the issue, and it has turned out to be the issue. And we're carrying a lot of that cash flow issues into our budget projections for next year, and it just doesn't make it pretty. Matt, you want to add anything to that, Morrell?
No, but we've taken some steps to try to alleviate some of these issues, one of which is I reached out to Elena DeFeo-Keen to see if she can work with the unions to try to defer some of the raises. I've also reached out to the state in terms of one of the suggestions that PJ and Ron put forward was the idea of an extra % of sales tax on a limited basis. I think it's a max at 3 years. And PJ had indicated that a 1% increase in sales tax would account for $4 to $5 million. That would be a tremendous help. But we need the state's, obviously, permission or authorization to do something like that. We're looking at asking for the tax cap to be increased. Based, for 2021, the tax cap is 1.56%. If we increase it to 3% without a penalty to our taxpayers, that would be very helpful. That would account for, right now, our tax cap is about $750,000 approximately. If we went to 3%, it would be about 1.4 million. Again, that would be helpful in terms of helping to close the gap without penalizing anyone. So there's been a lot of work that's gone into this. We're just starting. I mean, we've gone through the committee process with the department, but now the hard work begins to try to get the budget to where it's manageable.
Chairman Morel, can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So you talked about increasing the tax cap to 3%. And again, I always apologize for my ignorance. I'm brand new to this, but that would then allow us to increase people's taxes more than we would ordinarily allow, which in a financial crisis, I understand the need to increase our revenues, but in a financial crisis could also negatively affect taxpayers in the county.
But that's a choice we're going to have to make.
Okay.
You know, right now our tax cap would be 1.56, which means we can raise, as Ron said, approximately $750,000. The raises that budgeted almost come up to that 750,000 number.
Okay.
So we don't have a lot of wiggle room here.
Yeah.
The other time, I mean, we've had budgets in the past that have had $5 to $6 million difference between revenue and expenditures, but we've been able to close that with reduction, but also with cash fund balance that we've budgeted to close that. Well, unfortunately now we don't have fund balance.
Right. Got it. My other
Remember, the tax cap is against your tax levy, not your tax rate. It's how much you can raise your tax levy that goes into your tax rate. And that's a combination of what your tax levy is and your taxable real property values within your town. Those two combined equal your tax rate. But generally, if you keep your tax rate, tax levy rate around that 2%, coupled with your increase in your property taxes actually will go down your tax rate.
got it.
So far this year, compared to 21 to 20, Columbia County has about $251 million in increased property tax revenues or property tax values. So that'll help a little bit.
Okay. Thanks, Ron. My other question is for PJ. PJ, I heard you that one of our big issues is cash flow. And again, being new to this board, I just want to understand, like tonight, there's two resolutions in front of us, one having to do with engineering for a project in Copake, one having to do with paving a road, County 18. They're both like 95% reimbursable, which is great. But am I understanding, because they're reimbursable, that big projects like that, if we're talking a $5 million paving project, because it's a reimbursable thing, we have to have that cash flow to pay the bills that are involved in paving it while waiting for that reimbursement. So although I have been reassured in the subcommittee meetings that 80% federal and 15% state reimbursement has not been harmed because of COVID, and that we'll definitely or most likely get it back. Am I understanding that with the cash flow, that could still create a potential issue for the county having to put out, say, $5 million and wait however long it takes to then get that reimbursement back?
Well, I can just address it that this project probably won't start for another year or two, from my understanding. And even if it does start next year, as they complete certain portions of the project, we're able to pay for those portions and submit it for reimbursement. So it wouldn't be a matter of waiting for the total $5 million to be put out. And
Got it.
obviously, and, you know, the first 6 months of the year, 7 months in the year, hopefully we should be in a fairly good cash position because of the tax receipts.
Okay, so from a treasurer standpoint, you're comfortable taking on big projects like that for
Yes.
reimbursement?
Yes, ma'am, especially because of the quick turnaround of the money from the feds.
Thank you.
PJ, I need to talk with you something regarding this issue. Question was I'm with the supervisor this time says you have to spend the money $5 million. You can tell me the when is this federal and state money will be released? You know anything about it?
Okay, I've kind of lost you. Is anybody able to pick that up?
How long you're waiting for reimbursement from when you expend the money to when
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yes.
Typically with the road from the feds and this reimbursement schedule, it's usually about 30 to 45 days.
Okay. So you confident that you will be money back?
Yes.
Okay. So that is important because I hear that you have a problem going on at the 21 budget. If we spend the money and we don't have a money, you didn't get money from the state and federal, will be problem then.
Yeah, but in this particular situation, if we were running into that, we could always do a ban. And if we had to borrow the money until we can get the reimbursement for it. And now the money is so cheap, it would be very good to do if we had to. But I'm hoping that won't happen.
Oh, okay.
But also, I think we're kind of monitoring what projects we are doing and picking and choosing. Trying to make sure that the projects we do reimbursement is going to be there. Some is in some instances. Other times the money is not there. It takes us a lot longer. So I think we're kind of picking and choosing what projects we do to keep in line with cash flow and try to keep that balance right.
Yeah, that's an important point because I know you and Ron have gone over a lot of projects that we're going to put on hold for 21.
Right. Exactly that.
And I'll say, as we progress with this budget, we will keep you posted where we are. And obviously, we will, when we get close to having a budget, we'll review the budget with everyone, and there'll be a public hearing, there'll be a workshop, and so on. So we have a lot of road to cover yet.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment with Supervisor Shimidas. If we're, rather than increase sales tax, I would much rather us increase the title transfer tax. I think that's a much more equitable way to raise money. I think the market is increasing really rapidly right now, and so we could sort of offset some of that by doing a transfer tax. I think it wouldn't really harm our residents the same way a sales tax might. So there's some people who are really struggling. Every dollar counts, and if we're raising our sales tax, that hits everybody. But if we can raise money just off of home sales, I think it's a much cleaner way to raise funds. So I would rather us look into that before we look into raising the sales tax.
Okay.
Michael, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the title transfer tax is very minimal. I mean, you're talking, I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm going to guess $65,000 to $100,000 compared to $4 million we could raise with 0.5% in sales tax.
Yeah,
Okay.
PJ, you're right. It's about 65,000 a year.
Right.
A lot.
But Supervisor Shimiz, it is something we can look at as a possibility.
And is there,
Every dollar is going to count.
do we have any forecast at this point about what the mortgage taxes will be? I mean, given the state of the market, I ask this question every month, I know. Any
I had
indication?
it for the finance committee meeting. The last 3 months, the mortgage tax was up 40%. However, prior to that, it was about even or down. But in terms of reality in dollars, I think it's up like $100,000. So divide that by all your towns,
Right.
and it's great, but it's not going to solve the situation.
The mortgage tax is one of the taxes that's holding pretty steady and going up. So we retained our budget of 1.6 million for 2021 on the mortgage tax.
There
And then
seems like a
also-
lot of money to make up in this budget, And there's no really big golden goose out there where we can just pull a bunch of money from. So we're kind of going through and looking at the different line items and trying to pick them apart and save where we could. So that's another process that we're doing.
This also might be a good time to kickstart the lodging tax committee.
Yep,
Correct.
okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ron and PJ. I'm going to ask the clerk to read the resolutions.
Okay. Resolution 238 of 2020 to 254 of 2020 by Supervisor Livonia.
Mr. Chairman, I offer these resolutions for adoption.
Second, Benvenuto.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 255 of 2020 we're going to do 255 and 256 of 2020. Supervisor Not asked to pull number 257. I don't know if Supervisor Not wants to comment as to why.
Sure, yeah, the fire coordinator had wanted to offer this surplus vehicle for sale, but we found that the facilities department needed that. They were trying to budget for a new vehicle next year, and we found that by them taking this used one, it would defer us buying a new vehicle in facilities next year. So they're going to try and get a couple years out of this. They had to put some brakes on it and do some work to it, but so we're going to pull that so that the fire coordinator doesn't sell it.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to go resolution 255 of 2020 to 262 of 2020 with the exception of 257 by Supervisor Benvenuto.
Oh, no.
Mr. Chairman, I submit these resolutions for adoption.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, resolution 263 of 2020 to 268 of 2020 by Supervisor Not.
Mr. Chairman, I offer these resolutions for adoption.
Second. Jim
All
Guzzi.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, 269 of 2020 to 280 of 2020. We will have to vote on resolution 279 by 2/3 vote. But otherwise the resolution's sponsored by Supervisor Guzzi.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask that resolution 276 have a roll call vote?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I offer these resolutions for adoption.
Second, Benvenuto.
All in favor?
Aye.
So.
Okay,
which
so we're
one?
gonna start with 279, which was the resolution for the treasurer. And that's gonna be a 2/3 vote. Are we ready for that?
Which one is 279 or 269?
It's 279,
Okay,
okay?
yep.
Everybody ready? Fasten.
Yes.
Let me just pull up the resolution. so we can see it. Hopefully. All right, I don't have it there, sorry. Okay, so yes, Weigelt,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Benvenuto,
Yes.
Stats,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Bentler,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
Eldridge,
Yes.
Fury,
Yes.
Hillsdale, Livonia,
Yes.
Sterling,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Chamidas,
Just clarifying, this is 279, even though it looks like.
279. Yep, the one that we yeah, with PJ's
Okay, yes.
transferring by. Okay. Mussman,
Yes.
Scalera,
Yes.
Guzzi,
Yes.
Hoatling,
Yes.
Morel,
Yes.
Not,
Yes.
Skoda,
Yes.
3769A, 116 nay. The resolution passes. So now go back to, so now we'll do a simple majority vote on the resolution 276 requested by Supervisor Holtling. Just wait until we get our screen. Sorry. All right, so just bear with us one sec. Okay, Basson,
Yes.
Weigelt,
Yes.
Leader,
Yes.
Benvenuto,
Yes.
Stats,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Metler,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Riley,
Yes.
Eldridge,
Yes.
Fury,
Yes.
Hillsdale, Ligonia,
Yes.
Sterling,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Chamidas,
I'd like to see a public hearing on this before we do eminent domain. I'm a no.
Mussman,
Yes.
Scalera,
Yes.
Guzzi,
Yes.
Hoatling,
I agree with Supervisor Chamides. I think Mr. Knox and Supervisor Knott and everyone that's put in so much work, and I'm not opposed to the project. I am opposed to bypassing the public hearing, although I acknowledge we had one in 2017. I think things have changed. Things are more clear. The eminent domain is more clear. And I cannot vote to take property without a public hearing allowing the public to be heard. So I am voting no.
okay, Morel,
Yes.
Not,
Yes.
Skoda,
Yes.
okay, 3215A and 320 nay. The resolution passes.
Any other resolutions?
Do we do 280?
Bear with me.
280?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was included in the packet of 269 to 280 by Supervisor Guzzi and Sherry. Who was it seconded by?
Benvenuto, Kelly.
Benvenuto, Kelly.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm she had it in the notes.
Yep.
Thank you. So we're-
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Do any supervisors have any business to bring before the board?
Chairman, could I get an update on the police reform panel again? The status?
Yep, actually, I was going through the list of applicants today. I'm looking at a variety of things, including geographic distribution to make sure that different areas of the county and towns are represented, as well as the city of Hudson. We're looking at, in terms of demographics, making sure that different populations are represented. I've myself and Supervisor Benvenuto have met with a facilitator that I want to bring in to facilitate the community aspect. By doing that, we can include a lot more people rather than just a panel of 15. We could input maybe from 30 people, 30 community members over a couple of sessions. At that point, that's pretty much where we are. I'll be prepared to release something shortly I am going to have to bring a resolution to public safety to hire the facilitator and possibly have a special meeting to, just so we can get things moving. I like to get things moving by October and November and hopefully finalize it. But we did get several applicants. And, I think we have a plan which will give us the best bang for our buck in terms of getting the input and coming up with some good ideas that we can implement.
Thank you. Thanks for that update. And thanks for your hard work.
Is it accurate that a co-chair has been appointed, and is that public information?
I've asked Supervisor Benvenuto, and I've asked not Supervisor. I've asked Bill Hughes as a community member to co-chair the committee at this point in time.
And is it accurate that there will possibly be more than one committee? That it'll be bifurcated? I didn't quite understand what you said.
There'll be a community group giving input. There may be an elected official / law enforcement group to take that input and come up with some tangible outcomes. And then there'll be a main panel, which will probably be 10 or 12 people to vote and put forward a proposal that could be then have a public hearing. The public hearing would include anybody who wants to attend, including people who applied and maybe didn't get chosen. They'll have their chance to give their input in that way.
And do you have any sense of when you might announce your committee members, the two of either committee?
I can tell you, Supervisor, soon. I'm working on it now. I'm not sure, I'm still going back and forth with it. I want to meet with the facilitator one more time. And also, Supervisor Benvenuto, Bill Hughes, and the county attorney, and the sheriff. The sheriff has a pretty big stake in this, so to move this forward. But I'm working on it.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of layers to this onion.
Thank you, Chairman, for doing all that work.
Okay.
Peeling back the onion.
But, and to be honest, I want to do it right. We could throw a committee together and, 10 people, like some areas have, or 15 people. And, this way we're going to get as much input as we possibly can.
So I have a slightly related question, and that is, as we're looking at funding that department for the coming year, are you allowing for the fact that this committee's recommendations may affect the funding? And are we going to err on the side of funding what currently exists as opposed to what may emerge from this process?
I think it can inform it at some point in time. I mean, unfortunately, we're running on parallel rails right now.
Right.
I will say that I don't think any department's budget is going to be nuts. Every department's budget is going to be hit in one way, shape, or form, just based on the amount of deficit that we're looking at. And I've told the sheriff, and this is only my perspective, this isn't about defund police. This is about a $10 million or $7 million budget deficit. So, and I'll tell that to every department.
And Chairman, I'd just like to acknowledge again, I know I did before, that I'm so appreciative that you don't just want to rubber stamp it, that you want to do it right, that you put out an ad to the public. I realize it created a lot more work for you and Chairman Benvenuto and those others involved, but I think that it's really important that we, go through this process and come out with a product that we're proud of and can stand behind and can say, yes, this is what we did, this is what we're doing. And so thank you for putting in the extra time.
And I also look at this as an opportunity for our sheriff's department to educate the public about what they're doing and what they've been doing. So.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other supervisors have any input? Okay. Thank you. With that, motion to adjourn.
Eldred.
Kathy Eldred, second.
Second.
Yes, I'll second, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Kathy. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
I feel like